Hi guys, Bobby, Vinny and Fly here from Peak Performance Academy. On today's podcast, we're just going to talk about, basically what we're going to talk about is like something that came up time and time again, and you see it in society a lot, and we see it in the gym, and you see it everywhere, is that everybody has this kind of perception of what other people think. So if it's like, if you want to achieve something, or you want to wear a certain type of clothes, or you want to look as different way to anybody else you perceive as being different, why do we care so much about what people think? And I think that's a huge thing when it comes to somebody trying to be that little bit outside the norm, do you know?
So yeah, we're kind of we see a lot, I suppose, from the fitness side of things, and we're just kind of trying to, I suppose, from our side of things, relate it back to why we think people do it on other aspects of life. And like, Joe, it's not just a thing that that social media, what your friends think, or what you're going to put up online, or what, like you said, like what you're going to wear. It could also come from like doing something you want to do, whether it's kind of like a career choice, or something you want to do in college, or even not go to college. Like, you know, that pressure could come from, you know, within your family as well, like from parents, like, and they obviously want the best for you, but they might be kind of pushing you towards something that they kind of envision for you, rather than just something that you want yourself. I suppose it's kind of, you can go back to a fear of failure, I suppose. Fear of failure, or wanting to make people happy, wanting to be accepted, I suppose.
And the thing about failure is, like, it's not something that should be a negative word, because if you try something, we'll say, for instance, like we've said before, if you're learning a new skill, you're not going to be brilliant at it the first time, but each time that you actually don't get what you set out to achieve, you learn something, and that's a huge thing. And if you are afraid of doing that, you'll never be truly successful. Everybody that has some form of success have had setbacks, and that's the huge thing. And again, they don't really, I suppose, the people that are hugely successful, and we actually spoke about this last week or 2 weeks ago in the gym, we were talking about maybe getting somebody on one of our iTunes podcasts, been a very successful person, and we did a video on the cost of success, and we were talking and trying to maybe see who we could get on, just to talk about, okay, this is what I've done in my life in terms of success, and this is what it's cost me to get to where I am, and the things I would have had to maybe give up in life, or occasions I've missed, or family occasions, or spending time with family, or missing occasions. And what we found was the reaction a little bit, and we didn't dig too deep on it yet, but was, oh, I don't know about that, or could we talk about that, because of what people will think. And do you know what, I think people are more interested than actually anything else, and that's the one thing when you're trying to achieve something. And that's why social media nowadays has driven it. It's a completely different world. Like, I'm a lot older than Vinny, and like, it's a completely different world when I was 12, 13, 14 to when the guys now that are in their teens and 20s, they live in a completely different world. Like, it's so different because of social media.
Yeah, completely. Like, and it's like, I suppose we're saying things like, you know, you're wondering what people think, and with social media, you really see the most successful people out there, whether it's, we see a lot of it in the fitness industry, or kind of business, or entrepreneurs, especially when everything is so, your whole life is probably online. The people who are successful are putting out everything they do, basically. Like, you know, if you're worried what someone's going to say, or worried what your image is kind of like, it's very easy to see through that, and it's very, especially if you're building up a following, or you're getting more of a following, if you're not kind of being yourself, or just being kind of real on camera, or on audio, or with someone, it's very easy to see through it, and it's just, it's hard for people to relate to then. And so it's, I suppose we're just kind of, we're looking at some of this from kind of other people's side of things, why, maybe reasons why they want to be accepted, is it why they go to certain occasions, go to maybe do certain classes, go to certain gyms, do they want to be accepted, or they trying to do it to keep their friends happy, go to college to keep their parents happy, but they want to do something else, they want to pursue their own business, want to set up something, go into something they like. And it's just, it's kind of fear of failure, going back to again, and just really, like, success isn't money. Success is kind of waking up every day and enjoying what you're going doing, enjoy enjoy the life you're living or you're wanting to live. Like, you know, that freedom that you get to get up and go to a job you want. You're not going into an office job that you hate doing, but it's supporting you, and you're just kind of too scared to maybe have a less wage for a year to pursue something you like. Maybe you don't have to buy the car or buy the watch or buy the clothes, and you'd probably be a lot more happy as well. Like,
yeah, because like, do you know, I heard somebody saying lately that, you know, the people on social media that are out there, the YouTubers and the vloggers and all them people, that it's a very false friendship that they have. But the one thing about them is that these people that have, say, hundreds of thousands of followers, and you're watching their life through a lens, the one thing about them is they're not afraid of what people think, really. No, they'll get comments and stuff like that, but they're putting themselves completely out there, and that's just the environment we're in at the moment. That's the way life is. Life is lived through YouTube, through Instagram, through all these social media pages. So like, these people are quite successful when they get all these followers. Now, they have a story to tell, and some people are interested, some people not, and some of these are obviously not very interesting, but it gives you an insight into their life. And like Vinny was saying, that like you were kind of saying there, that Floyd was even saying,
touchy subject,
that like, if you have a goal in life or you have something that you want to achieve, you have to sacrifice something. So it might be in the initial sacrifice that might scare you, but if you think long term, and we spoke about this in a video, long term thinkers make better short term decisions. So if you make that long term vision is that I'm going to be in this career that I love in 2 years' time, and in the short term I'm going to have to sacrifice maybe wages, like you were saying, and people are going to have to maybe give up the extra holiday, give up the couple of nights out that they had during the week, but maybe only one night out now or whatever. That little short-term sacrifice is going to be the driver of success there, because it's going to be very, very short-term. You're going to stick in with it, and you're going to achieve your goal. Again, it goes back to people are afraid to do that. If there was a career change, maybe you were working, for instance, in a very, very high-profile job, and you want to be something that people would perceive as not been a very, very good career change, then you might be afraid to actually make that change, and that goes back to your perception of what people will think. I think that's dying out a lot, though. I think that was a kind of an older generation. The newer generation is completely different, because obviously of the social media, and we spoke about this last week, is if somebody dresses differently or does something differently, they're perceived as being a little bit odd or a little bit strange.
Yeah, just because we were in a city the weekend, and it's just like everybody's their own style, their own person, and like no one's gonna even look twice at you, because you're just a small fish in a big pond, like, or the sea. And that's the way you can like express yourself through whatever it is, fashion, art, creativity. And like, just coming from especially Caribbean, down southwest, no big towns really, it's that kind of that small town mentality. And like, whatever you do in life, if you're going to be successful in anything, like, you're just there's no way you can keep everyone happy or make everyone like you, because all the greats or whatever fields, or business, sport, everything, a lot of them were hated by a lot of people at their time. And like, that's just going to be something you just have to, I suppose, realise and kind of accept. I suppose it's hard enough when you're younger as well. Like,
it is now, because there's so much peer pressure on people to, like, that's the one thing about social media, and we've spoken about this before, is that social media can be that devil's advocate as well, because it's a best of both evils there, because a person at a certain age can look at social media. Say, for instance, we'll pick a female that's 13, 14 years of age, looking at these social media fitness fam people and thinking that their lifestyle, that's exactly how I want to look, I'm going to do exactly what they did, and they feel a lot of pressure from their friends to look a certain way, to dress a certain way, to carry a certain style. And that's the different pressure that wasn't there when I was younger. It is there now on a massive scale, and that's something we just need to be careful of. But the one thing you have to admire about the current generation is that they don't really, they're a little bit more carefree, I think.
A little bit more carefree. Definitely. And I think we're speaking about something that's even outside of fitness, where people kind of find fame. I suppose with my certain age group, it was like, you know, the Geordie Shorecast and all those MTV reality TVs. Like, one of my friends then kind of put up a post about it the last day, or just a story, just going, knowing how like they found a bit of fame, but you know, obviously how someone's kind of stuck for money, and they selling kind of products for this brand that's been sued so many times, like, and it's caused people serious health issues, like, and it's just, it's having morals more, like you're like thinking of the long-term picture rather than the short-term cash. And even with just outside the business, just even on Instagram or Facebook, I suppose Instagram's more like it. Or are you putting up a picture because you think it might get likes, or are you putting up a picture because you're just kind of like putting out what you want the world to see? You're expressing yourself through this picture, this kind of platform. And that's just a big thing. Like, are you doing it for likes, or are you doing it just to kind of basically have a social media photo book, kind of a scrapbook that you're going to see on your own, and this is stuff looking back on actual memories rather than just nights out and stuff that you think people might like.
And it is nice when somebody says to you, okay, you might meet somebody and they might have been following you on Instagram, and they might have seen a picture you've taken, for instance, when we were away last weekend, and said, oh, it was really nice, that was a cool picture. That's quite nice, because people, they appreciated it. They were like, oh, cool, they kind of knew where we were, what we were doing, and they kind of got a vibe from a picture of, oh, these guys are having a good time, they're enjoying themselves, they're having a break from work. And that's the nice thing about that. And I suppose when we go to the heart of this video and what we're kind of talking about, it really goes back to, does it really matter what people think? What somebody's perception of you doesn't matter. It's if you're happy with yourself, you're happy inside here, you're happy with your life, you're happy with your current situation, you're happy with your work, your family, your goals, are you happy with where you're trying to go in a couple of years' time? That's the most important. That is the most important thing. It can't be you're afraid to do something because of a perception of somebody else. That's not right.
And there's a fine line about not caring what people think or what people expect you to be. There's a fine line between that and not giving a shit like about anything, or not giving a shit and don't putting any time into your relationships, into your family, or even into your work life. So there's a fine line, like, you know, you're coming back to what morals you have. If it's something, if you don't care about your work or what people think, like, you can just become lazy and arrogant and stuff like that. But if you know what you want to do, and you know that your beliefs are in the right place and your morals are right, there's no point listening to kind of outside influence of people, what they expect you to be, what they expect your business should look like, or what they expect you should put up on Instagram, because that's just what's normal to do or socially acceptable.
And that's a big thing for us here in the gym as well, is that one thing you'll find us as coaches is that we will know every single thing about our clients, because we talk to our clients, we get to know our clients. I can look at clients, and Vinny can look at clients, and Jared can look at clients, and Chris can look at clients, and they can basically tell, okay, just by them walking in the door, they're a little bit stressed, there's something up, okay, because you get a trust and you get a connection with that person. And we're always trying to preach to our clients that, do you know what, you're trying to achieve something, absolutely give it 100%. Your coach is behind you. Don't worry about what people think, because if somebody has something nasty or a bad comment to say, it's a jealousy thing, it might be a self-confidence thing by themselves, it could be an ego thing, but you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all once you are happy with the journey you're on. And that's the most important thing, is that every single person has a background story, and every single person is on their own journey. And that's when we always talk about lanes. Everybody in life is a lane, and you're in your lane and you're trying to stay in your lane. Sometimes you might go outside your lane with an opinion of somebody else, and then if you're the kind of person that's going to do that, it's not really fair. And every one of us judge a book by the cover. It's hard to say we don't. We do, of course, but I think we can be a bit more tactful and maybe take a step back and say, right, I shouldn't have said that, or that's not a very nice thing to say. I don't actually know. And I'm a big believer in this background story. We walk a day in their shoes and see what it feels like, and we see it so often with people that maybe might be a bit overweight, and somebody makes a comment saying, oh, look at him, look at him, put on so much weight. I know that's just a general statement, but it's quite a harsh thing to say, and they don't know what that person is going through at all. And that's the thing that I find is quite upsetting, really.
Like that, like, just touch on that, like, half time when people are saying it, they're not saying something to be malice or something like that. They're just saying it because I was talking to someone in the gym there about a couple of weeks back, and so I just come from the football background. I was talking to her, she was like, would be an opinion I'd respect highly, and would be a very smart person, and it was going about fitness side of things, and I was saying I was thinking about doing a photo shoot next year or something like that, and she kind of just came across like, but you don't have the personality for that. And I was kind of like, didn't understand in which way, and she was going on things like, you know, you kind of have to be arrogant or full of yourself to put up a picture online of with your top off because you've done a photo shoot or something like that. And that's maybe just an older mentality, just kind of, or with social media, like just because these people who do photo shoots and put up a picture with their top off doesn't mean they're a bad person. And it's like, it's easy to assume that, because I suppose like a jealousy thing, like just because no one wants to see, it's going back to social media, no one wants to see the pictures of them grinding in the gym or not eating out at the weekend, not going to the social occasions where other people are out partying and stuff like that. No one wants to see that, and then when they put up their hard work at the end, like they're just kind of like stuck to like, oh, he's an arrogant person, or he's not nice, or that's so vain, or they're not some person you see on Instagram, or they're definitely on steroids or something like that. Just kind of just begrudgingly saying it without even thinking or what they went through or what they have to do to get there.
It's just a very small-minded opinion, to be honest, because like Vinny's doing his first photo shoot next year, and I've previously done photo shoots and never once did it for any other reason, only myself, to basically have that photograph when I'm 50, 60, 70 years of age. I can look back and say, okay, I trained and I got to that level of condition, and I was really happy. It certainly made me happy to challenge all of us in the gym, come from sporting backgrounds. We were all competitive people, we've all competed in sport, so this is kind of a competition against yourself. Can you actually get to that level? And that's all it is. I mean, if it's any other reason you're doing it for just to get likes or something like that, it's the wrong reasons, because it's not an easy journey by any means, and it's like Vinny said, behind closed doors people have to realise what actually goes into getting into that condition, the work ethic, the determination and the actual drive each day to stay on track and mark and tick every box. Like, so that's the important thing. And I think that's just an older mentality's mindset towards that.
And the same as even outside of social media. I think the big probably story this summer was probably from the sports side of things, was like the revelation of Kylian Mbappe in the World Cup and his year before it, and him being 19 and just scoring all these goals and becoming one of the best players in the world. And it's easy to look and say, geez, any teenager or any young adult would love that life, Joe, to be on that money and stuff like that. But he was interviewed lately and he just said, since he's been about 14 or 15 and up until his age now, I suppose he's still only 19 or 20, he was never allowed to go out with his friends or go to parties or go to any social occasions. He was put into a world of adults at a really young age, and he had to do that straight away. So like, it's not all what it's made out to be. Like, everybody makes sacrifices, and
Same as Ronaldo as well, isn't it?
It's what you're willing to sacrifice to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, and all these people have a story and a journey that we need to understand. And like that, you say with that kid, 19 years of age, absolute superstar, but the background story when we actually heard it from him was a lot different. Like, he had a lot of sacrifices he had to make, a lot of choices he had to make. Again, he's going to be very successful and he's going to reap the rewards of it. But would you begrudge him? Absolutely not, because he's put in the work. And all these superstars that do that, they have a story. Like, there's something special about these people. We were only talking during the week about, you know, these special sports people. When you mention a sport and their name comes up straight away. Tiger Woods with golf, Michael Jordan basketball, boxing. You could have Muhammad Ali would be the first when it comes to people's heads. They all are just absolute out and out superstars, but global superstars that were that little bit different. You know, nobody's replicated these people as much as they've tried to do it. Nobody's probably ever going to replicate these people, because they were the kind of people that didn't care what people think. They had a journey, they had a drive, and they just succeeded.
And they were bigger than just the sport they were in as well, like.
Which is huge. I mean, that's a huge thing. So that's kind of where we're going with this video, guys. Just kind of give you an insight into our perception of what we think people think. We don't care. I mean, we're on our own journeys. We're trying to stay in our lane, look after people the best we can, give the best service we can, and enjoy our life as much as we can. If that's taking photo shoots or doing whatever, or playing football, whatever we want to do, you should just be happy for the person that's doing that and say, listen, best of luck with that, and we'll be behind you.
And just because we kind of have more or less the same view on this topic, like, we're interested to see what other people think, like, you know, people who run businesses or young people, and their reasons why they do behind the doing. It's just a different side of things.
absolutely, guys. So thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that video. Again, we'll have another one up in a week's time where we'll discuss another topic that's going to be kind of in the news or relevant that week or two, but that this is just something that we felt we need to speak about because we've been here kind of a bit more within our gym with the last kind of couple of months. So for myself and Vinny and Floyd, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.